Hi, I'm Debbie. I am back with a cross-stitching update on this Flosstube. I am not sure what Flosstube number we are on, so it will be a surprise. We are in, we're near Morgantown, West Virginia in the USA. It is about 9 a.m. It is 76 degrees outside, but it's insanely muggy. I think the dew point is at like 71 and the humidity is at 80% right now. So 76 sounds nice, but it's like breathing water right now. We are going to talk about WIPs and then some plans. And that's enough, right? It's been a while since I filmed. I'm in a new location. I thought that the lighting here was a lot better than upstairs. So we are sitting on my couch in the living room, and I'm just gonna talk like I'm by myself. So I'm gonna be showing you, I think, 10 projects. And I have one finish, which of course I did not bring with me, so hold please. Okay, we're back. Yes, so 10 projects, one of them is a finish. I will show that at the end, of course. So let's get into it. So since we last spoke, sort of, I have worked on Spring Moon by Plum Street Samplers. And I love this. I love the greens and the blues in this piece. The moment it came out, I was like, I have to have it. So I was very happy to work on this when spring came around. I am stitching this on Picture This Plus Ancient in 40 count linen, and I started in the top left corner with the moon, of course. And before the moon was finished and this top leaf was finished, so when I stitched on it, I finished the second leaf, did all those flowers, and started on the basket or urn or whatever you want to call it. The first page is almost finished, so it is to the edge of the first page, and this is the bottom of the first page. There's the beginning of a rabbit up here, and some stars and stuff. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun to work on. I am stitching this with most of the called for colors, I think. Definitely the green is a Weeks Dye Works and the blues are Weeks Dye Works. The brown here is just DMC 3371. So just one more time. That's where we're at. Definitely enjoyable to work on. So this piece measures 145 stitches wide by 169 high, and it's a mix of Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, and DMC. But I may not have been able to get all of the called for. So wherever, there's also some DMC conversions for all the Weeks Dye Works and the Classic Color Works. So that was fun. And then the next one I worked on was Sunflower's Farm by Cuore Batticuore. And this is honestly one of my oldest projects. I started in the top left corner, and this is all DMC floss, but I am not using that tan fabric. I decided to go with a blue fabric. which I think is by Picture This Plus. I'll show you in a second. So I had, of course, started in the top left corner, as I typically do, and show you where I'm at. So there's the fabric, definitely pretty true to form, maybe a little less gray, a little more blue. I just thought the yellows would pop on this way more than the tan. And so everything was here except down in this border where this leaf is finished. I added all the green and added some more of the yellow for the flowers. I brought the green line across. I filled in the wheels, and then I did the leaves, filled in the flowers, including those, the big top ones, and then I did that bumblebee. So if I had kept going, I was working my way over to the house. But then I looked at the house and I was like, that's a lot. And I decided I needed to put this down for a bit. But yeah, I love this piece. This piece is so cheerful. I love sunflowers. And I need to work on this more. So yeah, this is also 40 count. I want to say this is Mirage, but I am not certain. This project measures 250 stitches by 160 stitches, so it's, you know, so that's top to bottom on 40 count. There we go. That's top to bottom on 40 count. So it's not going to be that large on this type of fabric, which means I'll have an entire half of this fat eighth. Oh, I do have the sticker. No, it's Nocturne. It's Nocturne by Picture This Plus. Yeah, so I'll have the whole other half of this to use for something else. All right, so that was the second one. Next is Death by Cross Stitch by Long Dog Samplers. This is what it looks like. This is my only Long Dog sampler, and I decided if I was just gonna do one, it had to be Death by Cross Stitch. So I started this in the bottom left-hand corner because most people started up here with this horse or unicorn, and I've seen it so much that I wanted to stitch somewhere different. So I started down there in the bottom left corner. I am not very far. I'm still working on this first page. And I'm doing a two-toned, possibly more. I love the early 500 DMC colors, so DMC 500 through 504 or 505 or whatever. This dark color is 501 and the lighter color is 503, I think. But I think as I go through I might add more. I love the tonal effect that it will have. This is being stitched on a 28 count linen in, I don't know if the sticker's on this one. Yes, I see it. Oh no, it's a 32 count Vintage Sahara by Picture This Plus. And this was a stash buster, this project. I've had a couple pieces of yellowy fabric that turned out to be more yellow than I had hoped, and so I wasn't using it. So this is a stash busting fabric, and I pulled DMCs from my stash that I seem to have a couple colors, a couple skeins of. And that's where we're at. Now, when I stitched on it, I did that up, so all of that, and then I brought this over. So we're almost to the edge of the page here, and I believe we're getting close to the end of the page here. So this is a project that I just kind of will stitch in hand and kind of sit near me, and just kind of like put in a length of thread here and there. Because it's so, I'm stitching this 1/1. So it is tiny, and I'm doing it full cross. So it's gonna be a reasonable size when it's done. Whenever it gets done. It is definitely not a focus piece at the moment, but whenever I feel like stitching something that doesn't have a lot of color change and that I don't mind how small it is, this is something I like to pull out. This one is 363 stitches wide by 447 stitches high. So it's going to take a while. As you can see, I am down there. Okay, so that one has been fun. Over there. The next one I worked on is a new start. This is a Dimensions kit. It's a Gold Collection Petite called Morning Lake. And one day I just wanted to start something new, and I wanted it all together, complete in a kit, so I didn't have to like pull anything, and so I thought this was going to be the perfect thing, and I have really enjoyed stitching on it so far. I did start in the middle, which is like right in here, just to make sure I got the correct margins on the kit fabric. So I'm using everything in the kit on this one. It comes with 18 count ivory Aida, and that's where we are. A lot of this project is half cross. The only items that are not half cross are going to be the cabin itself, the boat, and most of the dock, but like everything else is a half cross, which is one of the reasons why I decided to start it, because I was like, I'll probably get a good amount of progress in a short amount of time. So as you can see, I'll pull this up closer. I started in the middle and just sort of picked a symbol and worked on it for a while, and then picked a different symbol and kind of was filling in as I went. There's a lot of black in this piece, so it's easy to get a lot of progress if I do some black. The black here, there is some that you do full cross with 2 strands, but then most of it is half cross with 4 strands on 18 count, which is quite thick. I have reached the edge over here, and obviously reached the edge over here. I am working my way down to the bottom with the black, and then I'm kind of picking a color here and there. Like I'm switching back and forth between working the black and then working a color somewhere in here. So this one's great. I stitched this one in hand. It's easy just to pick up and go, you know, in its little plastic container. So when I go on vacation in a couple weeks, I will probably bring this one because that'll be easy. So yes, that one is a lot of fun. The next one I worked on quite a lot. So this is Halloween at Hoffern Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. You've probably seen this everywhere. There we go. I was working on this block, and I have finished that block, and I have finished a second block and started another block. So I have, for some reason, this project has just been one I've been gravitating towards. I'm not sure why exactly. It is being stitched on a 40 count Country Mocha by Zweigart, just their printed fabric. Ooh. There we go. So we're starting to get there, and I am actually really excited. I think now that I've gotten over halfway, it makes me want to pull it out more, because I feel the pull of the progress, and it feels really good. Let me see if I can bring this in closer. Yeah, so before the center block was done, that bottom swamp block and the 2 blocks just above the center block were all done. And then I was working on this one up here, the bell tower. And the last time you saw it, let's see if I can, there we go. I had the bell tower, these 3 bats, and this house. So I did the house over here, all the bats, the wording, the lightning, and the 3 large bats over here. And finished the block finally. And finishing this block, it just gave me momentum. I don't know, it felt really good to finish it. Now, you may recall that I had made two huge counting errors in here. The first one I tried to fudge, and then I found another error, and so I ripped all of this out and let it sit for months. And so I finally pulled it back out I told myself if I just restitched what I had to tear out, that would be good enough. But then once I had, it gave me the motivation to keep going, because it actually did not take as long as I thought it would. So this block is now done, and then I told myself that I needed to do a block that was a lot more stitching, because I can't leave all the heaviest stitching blocks till the end, otherwise I'm gonna burn out and have a rough time. Here we go. So I decided to do the mermaid block, and I was really attracted by the blues in here. It's 927, 926, and 924. And almost every part of this block I loved stitching. It looks kind of intimidating when you look at it from here, because basically from the water down it is full coverage. But I started from the top, working my way down, and at each layer of water I would stitch everything in it, and then I would fill in the water. So then I went down to the middle part, I had finished everything in there, and then I did the water. Same with the bottom one. The only thing is that if you notice, the bottom water is the thickest, and so it took the longest. And so it got to the point where I had this much of the dark blue filled in, and I was really getting burnt out on it. So I kept it out, and I would just put in a thread once a day just to keep it going. And then once I got to the skulls, I was able to just get it finished. So that felt really good. I finished that yesterday, and I was feeling couldn't quite settle to anything else, so I decided just to keep going. So I started this next block, and I did all of that last night. So I'm really enjoying this piece. There's something about, I don't even know what it is, why this one's different. Like, I'm stitching it on paper. I take the page of the block and I fold it in half and I stick it onto my Q-snap with a needle minder so that I've got the pattern like right in front of where I'm stitching. And I have a little bag of thread and I pick the thread I need and I just sit there and stitch. And for some reason, it's just, that's what I want right now. So I've really, really been enjoying this. So let's take a look at the full thing one more time. There we go. So of course I've been looking at the full piece and going, okay, well, what block will I work on next, and what order am I going to do them in? And it's been a lot of fun. So I will tell you that the block I'm going to do last is the first block. The first block is the one that I've seen stitched most, and so I didn't want to stitch it right away. So I decided that that will be my last block because I actually really do want to stitch it. I'm not like dreading that block or anything. And I think having it be the last block I stitch means I still have something to look forward to, and it'll help me get through the completely full coverage block, which I think I'm gonna do second to last. So I'm talking about, this is the first block. So of course you have a haunted house, you've got that green hill, you know, there's a variety of things to stitch, and honestly, like, compared to some of the other blocks, that is not a lot of stitching. Those cobwebs are straight stitch or back stitch or couch stitch or whatever. So those aren't even cross stitches. So those will go fast. So that's going to be my last one. And then this block is the one I was talking about that is completely full coverage. So I do not want to leave that till the end. So it's either going to be second to last or third to last, I think. So yeah, and then, nope. This block is the one I'm working on right now. So, yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. And I'm really glad I got over that hump of making those counting mistakes and trying to figure out what I was going to do. So, love it. Okay. I have one more non-full coverage to go over. And this one is the stocking I'm working on by Dimensions Gold Collection. How can I... There's a lot of glare. So this is called Holiday Glow Stocking. Sorry for the glare. I had started this in the middle, made a counting error, gave up on it for like a couple years, and then this past Christmas I decided I needed to pull it out and I needed to work on it because there were other stockings I want to stitch when I'm done with this. So I was finally able to kind of just get over my mental block on this, and over Christmas I stitched on that the snowman's scarf and part of his body and some of his hat. And since then, I'll show you what I've done, because I did sit and work on this for about a week and got some good progress. This is being done on 18 count white Aida. This is where I am. Look at that. So first I decided I wanted to fill in the fur or the lining on the coat, and then I filled in the rest of the red, and I did his glove. Everything else was already there. So all of this on the snowman was from last time, and then I had a couple of reds in the jacket, but other than that I've stitched all of that. I probably did at least like 2,000 stitches. And that's been a lot of fun. I definitely need to bring this out in July for Christmas in July, because I really want to make some more headway on this. Because again, I have like 3 other dimension stockings in my stash that I want to stitch. So gonna keep working on this and bring it closer. Love, love, love. So you may notice the scarf and the jacket are full cross, so they're pretty clear. And then the snowman is in half cross, so you can kind of tell that he's a bit more blended. So I love that effect. It's really pretty. So yeah, looking good. All right, so that is all my non-full coverage. I have a few full coverage pieces. So the first one I'm going to show you is the Commodore by Marta, Dahlig. Ooh, the glare is real. I'm going to start taking images and then putting images in instead of showing you on my tablet. I just need to find the time to do that. So for now, please bear with me with the glare. So this is the Commodore by Marta Dahlig. It is blowing out a little bit, but love it. Love it. And I made the mistake of stitching this on 32 count linen, 2/1 half cross. And it's really small. It's really small, and I'm kind of struggling with that a bit. But this last time I picked it up, I wanted to make sure that I had counted my margins correctly, so I worked my way over to this corner just to check. There's 2 inches. There's 2 inches on each side. And I think what happened is that I had this piece on hand, and the project would fit on it, and I wanted to start it right then, and I wanted to try out this method of 32 count over 1 half cross. So I think this was probably only the second full coverage piece I ever started. And this is where she is at. I'll give you stats in just a second. So I have been working over here. First, I pulled colors and I filled in all of this over here so I could get to the corner. And then I came back and I started filling in here to start finishing this page. And then I brought in some dark colors here. I brought this black down, and I put in about 2,000 stitches. So that's where she's at. She looks beautiful. The main part of her face is completely done. I finished her face the last time I worked on her. I mean, filled in all of the little bits and pieces. Her cheek, obviously, and her ear still need to be done, but all the other parts there are finished. So, love her. Love the moody, like, blues and teals and everything in this piece. About half of this project is black, DMC 310. So, it's good that I like doing some solid stitching. And then, the background, of course, is super easy, and then she is like confetti. But yeah, enjoying working on her. Let me give you some stats real quick. So that project, the full stitches are about 300,000, and I have stitched 40,668 stitches. I'm at 13.39%. and need to put in more stitches in her. The next one I worked on, this is like a labor of love. First of all, there's an entire yard. There's an entire yard here of 25 count. And this is Impossibilium. This is Supersized Impossibilium by Aimee Stewart. And again, I'm doing something different. This is 25 count. I'm using 1 strand of floss over 1 fabric thread, so 1/1. And I am doing a parking method on this one because it is full on confetti. Like, this is the most confetti of any project I have. And so I'm doing what I call the Jessie Marie Does Stuff method, where you do 1 10x10 square at a time, and you do them in the diagonal per page. So the first page is done, and the second page I've worked all the way over to the edge, and I've been slowly doing the diagonal in, and I put in probably about 1,000 stitches. That's it. I would love to get this page finished, but I have to be in the mood for this, because you're not seeing any images or anything, like, you're not seeing anything show up. It's just all this background leaves against this stone or whatever. I'll show you the picture in just a second. So this is hard. It's gonna take forever. I think this piece is like over 500,000 stitches. I don't know what I was thinking. The thing though is that I started this in the summer of 2022. Was it 2022 or 2021? I think I started it in 2021 in the summer. It was my first time going to Florida for several weeks to support my mom when she first got her cancer diagnosis. And to me, doors mean a lot. Like, I love doors. I don't know why, but like, they're you know, it's a threshold. You're crossing from one state of being to another state, like room to room, or situation to situation, or just transitioning from one thing to another. And if you have a closed door, like, you know, you never know what's going to be behind it. It could be something good. It could be something amazing. It could be like sense of discovery. And I just loved that theme, especially it being called Impossibilium, because I feel like it really means like the possibilities are endless. Get this in here. So it's this gorgeous door. And of course I'm in that top left corner for days, for years. And it's just straight up confetti. But I cannot wait. Like, if you get close enough, you see on the door there's like green wisps of magic and stuff. It's just beautiful. So originally I was going to do this supersized max color, and the confetti was just beyond, it broke my brain. So I purchased it again in just the supersized. Now, why I needed to do this supersized, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe to get the detail on the door. But it's just taking forever. Let me give you my stats on this one. So yeah, so this piece is it's about 550,000 stitches. I have stitched 10,767 stitches total. I am at 1.95%. Yeah, a long way to go on that one. That one is definitely a labor of love. Okay, the next one is a new start. This one is a piece of art that my sister did, actually, and I charted it. I guess there. You've got yourself a rib cage with flowers and leaves. Let me see if I can turn down the brightness. Well, it's a little there. Okay. So my sister, and it was just like a sketch. She did it on her computer and she was just playing around with it. And I love this for some reason. I've called it Spiritus Vite, which means breath of life in Latin. And so I put it into my cross-stitch software and charted it. And I started from the very top middle. I only started this a couple days ago, and I have not put a lot into it yet. If anyone has been with me for a really long time, even before I started this cross-stitch channel, I have charted this before in a previous software. It was not Pattern Keeper compatible, and I can't find the chart anymore. I've actually started this a couple of times. So now this version I have charted in WinStitch, which does create a Pattern Keeper compatible version. So started in the top middle, and I'm stitching this. I'm stitching this on a 28 count mushroom Lugana, and some of the stitches you can't even really see them very well right now. But yeah, it's no background. I am not stitching the white background, so it's just going to be, you know, there will be fabric showing through, which I think is going to look really cool. I'm not quite sure about this piece yet because I feel like there's a lot of confetti in it, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. So I've decided that this piece, for at least to get to a certain amount of progress, I'm going to keep it out, and I'm going to try to do 100 stitches a day and get it to a point where either I decide that yes, let's keep going, I can get into it, or no, it's too much confetti, it needs to be simplified. So that is the plan with that one. All right. The last piece I have to show you is my finish, which, if you've been with me for any length of time, even saw my last video, you will know I was very close to a full coverage finish, and I have done it. Got Ex Machina! She's all done. So let me show you if I can get her all in here. But yes, she is all done. There we go. Oh, I was working in this bottom right hand corner and right here, and I had been working in this area for months, and she's done. This is my first full coverage finish. This is Ex Machina. The art is by Cris Ortega, and this is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I have said this before, and I'll say it again. This was the perfect first full coverage piece for me to do. If you look at this, there's something going on in every page. There's not just a bunch of blank sky or something somewhere that you have to like slog through to get to the good stuff. No, every single page almost had something interesting that I was like uncovering as I stitched, and it kept my interest. And I honestly have loved working on this. it was very rare that I would get to a point where I felt burnt out. I started this in the summer of 2019, finished it spring of 2025, and I'm very proud of it. I love it. So I'm going to do a video showing, I'm going to try to do a video showing me finishing this, fully finishing it. I have some foam core, I have some pins, I'm going to lace it, I have a frame. So I'm going to do a video showing that because I feel like it's kind of intimidating when you have this huge piece of fabric and you're like, I want to look at this, you know, but how do I finish it? And I can't afford to send it to someone to finish it because that is going to be really expensive. So I kind of want to show my process of kind of trying to do it myself. So yeah, so Ex Machina is all done. I haven't picked, I thought that the Commodore was going to be my next focus full coverage, but honestly, ever since I finished Ex Machina, God, it was my focus for so many years that I'm having a hard time committing to a new one. And so I feel like I've just been kind of starting full coverages and stitching on some full coverage WIPs and kind of like feeling it out. I haven't really picked one yet that is going to be my focus. And I think what I'm going to do is kind of go through all of my full coverages, see like where they're at. Like, is there anything that's like barely started? Is there anything under 1%? And try and get everything to at least 1%, and then decide by working on all of them if there's one out of those that I do want to have as a focus piece. And for me, a focus piece is something that stays out all the time, and I work on it like every month. It may not be like every week or every day, but it is something that I would touch on every single month. There's a lot of my WIPs that I pull out seasonally, once a year, maybe even not once a year. And so for me, a focus is something that I touch on a regular basis. So yeah, so Ex Machina's done. Very happy about that. Yeah, so those are all my WIPs, my finish. I had a start. I've been stitching. My plans, I know I've said it before, but I'm going to do a WIP parade. Hopefully in this next week. I'm going to start preparing for it so that it's not like an overwhelming task next Saturday. So I'm going to do a WIP parade. I'm going to show all of my projects. I'm going to point out ones that are kind of on pause, where they're not even being considered to pull out at any point. And then I'm going to do a separate video that kind of goes over some goals for the projects that I do want to work on. And then, like I said, I'm going to do a finishing video for Ex Machina, so you can kind of follow along with me while I finish her. Yeah, so that's it. I don't have any like haul to show you or anything. I'm kind of on a spending freeze. I have I purchased the pins that I'm going to use in order to lace Ex Machina, and I bought a little 5x7 frame that I'm going to use to finish a gift for someone once I finish stitching it. But other than that, I haven't really been buying anything. I really am like focused on my stash because I have tons of things that I can work on. I don't need to be buying anything else. So, well, I hope you are all doing well and enjoying summer or winter wherever you are. I hope you're staying cool if you're in summer. I hope you're staying warm if it's winter. We've been having a heat wave here. We had flooding like 2 weeks ago, and then we had a heat wave this week, and so it's just been kind of up and down. But yeah, still trying to get outside when it's nice out. I've been trying to visit state parks here in West Virginia. I went to New River Gorge in February. I went to Stonewall Resort in March, which is on a lake. And then I went to Cooper's Rock State Forest over Memorial Day weekend. And last weekend I went to Tigert Valley Falls State Park, which was beautiful. And I'm trying to get outside when I can. It's one of the reasons I moved here from the desert. I used to live in Phoenix, is that I want to enjoy the seasons and I want to get outside and enjoy nature and all the changing cycles in nature. So I've got some plants out on my porch. I have a gardenia bush that has finally decided to flower. The flowers smell so good. I planted some zinnias from seed back in March, and they are finally blooming. I bought a hydrangea seedling, like a tiny little stick, back in March or April, and it's doing well. Its leaves are green. It's probably doubled in size. It's going to take a while, but I'm its mom, and I'm gonna help it grow. So I also have a rose bush as well. It's doing okay. I'm in a constant battle with like rose slugs, which eat the leaves and they hide on the back, and I'm just constantly looking for them and picking them off. But yeah, I've really been enjoying getting outside. We do have a lawn here, so my brother and I have been taking turns mowing the lawn. But I did invest in a nice lawnmower now that we own our own place. We did rent a house a while ago that had a lawn, and it was just a pain in the ass the whole time. Like, I didn't want to invest in a piece of machinery that was going to cost like $500 if we were renting, and we may not have a lawn in the future. Like, why would I invest in that? So, so it definitely having a good quality lawnmower is essential for managing a lawn. So that's just a bit about what's been going on here, and I hope you're doing well, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.